unfold.
All right, let's just dive right in. For the longest time, we all kind of thought of pollution as something out there, something external that we were just exposed to. But the latest science is telling us something way more terrifying. That line we drew between our bodies and our plastic world, it's not just blurred, it's gone.
And that, right there, is the heart of what we're digging into. The whole idea of exposure is old news. We've entered a new reality, one of biological integration. The very stuff we created for convenience is now, quite literally, becoming part of us. In fact, scientists have actually given us a new name for this new reality, Homo plasticus. And I want to be crystal clear here. This isn't some clever sci-fi metaphor. Nope. It's a literal, biological descriptor for a species whose basic chemical makeup is being fundamentally changed by plastics.
So where do we even begin with this? Well, how about we start with the most protected, most fortified place in the entire human body? I'm talking about the brain. And here's the kicker. Its legendary defenses have been breached.
You're probably asking, how on earth is that even possible? Well, it turns out it's this incredibly sneaky process of biological hijacking, a kind of Trojan horse invasion in 4 steps. First, these tiny nanoplastics sneak into our bloodstream. Then our own body gets tricked. It coats these plastic bits in our own proteins and cholesterol, creating this perfect disguise. This allows the plastic to walk right up to the blood-brain barrier, the fortress wall of our brain, and fool the guards. The barrier thinks it's welcoming in something good, and it actively pulls the plastic invader right inside. 7 grams. Okay, I'm just going to let that number hang in the air for a second. 7 grams. It might not sound like a lot, right? But just hold that thought. That is the amount of plastic that researchers found inside the most contaminated human brains they've ever studied. We are not talking about some trace amount here. We're talking about plastic making up 0.5% of the brain's total weight. It's become a structural component of the organ itself.
And if you really want a visceral image for that, just picture your credit card. Now imagine grinding it into a powder and mixing it directly into the tissue that creates your thoughts, your memories, your entire sense of who you are.
Naturally, this has led neuroscientists to a really chilling question about dementia. It's become this awful chicken or the egg problem. Is it that dementia comes first and weakens the brain's defenses, letting the plastic flood in? Or, and this is the really frightening part, could the plastic shards themselves be the seeds that help the toxic plaques of Alzheimer's grow in the first place?
Okay, so it's not just the brain. Not by a long shot. We need to zoom out because there is literally a war being waged across your entire body. And right now, we're losing.
Scientists have actually identified a new disease caused by this. They're calling it plasticosis. Think of it like this. You have these microscopic, sharp bits of plastic constantly scraping and irritating your internal tissues. Your body, doing what it's supposed to do, tries to heal this by creating scar tissue. But the irritant, the plastic, it never goes away. So the body just keeps scarring and scarring and scarring over it. And here's why it's a losing battle. See, against a normal invader, like a bacteria, your immune cell's like a little Pac-Man. It gobbles it up, destroys it, problem solved. But when an immune cell tries to gobble up a piece of plastic, it can't destroy it. The plastic is too tough. So the cell itself eventually dies. And when it bursts, it just releases the plastic shard right back out, along with a ton of chemical alarm bells. And that just calls in more immune cells to come try and fail over and over and over again. It's a totally futile, self-destructive loop. And the end result of all this scarring and chronic inflammation, it's something called fibrosis. This endless battle literally robs our organs of their function. It can turn soft, flexible, vital tissues, like our lungs, into something hard, stiff, and useless. Something more like concrete. So this internal war isn't some abstract long-term health issue. Its consequences are very real, and they are linked to 2 of the most immediate threats you can imagine: our individual survival and the future of our entire species. All right, another number for you, 4.53 times. That is a massive and frankly a terrifying increase in risk. The question is, a risk of what?
That is your increased risk of having a heart attack, a stroke, or dying from any cause if you have plastic fragments embedded in the plaques lining your arteries. You see, these jagged little pieces physically make the plaque unstable. They basically turn a chronic, manageable condition into a ticking time bomb.
And now, for what might just be the most shocking number of all. In a landmark study this year, scientists examined human testes to see how many contained microplastics. The result? 100%. Not 99, 100. Every single sample was contaminated. And what this does to male fertility? Well, it's like a coordinated assault, a pincer attack from 4 different directions at once. The physical shards literally shred the delicate structures that produce sperm. They cause oxidative stress that damages sperm DNA. Then, the chemicals leaching out of the plastic disrupt testosterone. And finally, they break down the natural barrier that's supposed to protect everything, letting even more toxins in. It's a systematic dismantling of fertility.
But look, this isn't just about male fertility. The story on the maternal side is just as dire. The number, you guessed it, 100%. 100% of human placentas tested now contain microplastics. The very organ that's meant to be a pristine, protective life support system for a growing baby is universally contaminated. Just think about what that means. The idea of a pure, untouched newborn is now a biological impossibility. Every single human being is now born pre-polluted.
When you put all this together, the brain, the immune system, our hearts, our ability to reproduce, it forces us to confront a really difficult and inescapable new reality about our future. Disintegration with plastic is so complete that geologists now talk about technofossils. But here's the wild part. The technofossil isn't just a plastic bottle that gets buried in rock anymore. The technofossil is us. Researchers have now found polyethylene, plastic, literally mineralized into human bone. Our skeletons will carry the chemical signature of our plastic age into the deep geological future. And maybe the grimmest fact of all is this: our bodies have no way to deal with it. We don't have the enzymes to break plastic down. There is no biological off-ramp. We excrete a tiny fraction, but we take it in so much faster. This means the accumulation is a one-way street. The plastic that's already inside us is there for good.
So all of this leaves us with one profound and deeply unsettling question. For the last century, we have been the ones creating the plastic age, shaping our world with this material. But now we have to confront the reality that this plastic world is starting to create us. It's reshaping our biology from the inside out, which leads us to the final question. What happens when we are no longer just Homo sapiens, but plastic sapiens?